Good morning, IB Nation. Ryan Roberts here at Rise and Draft on Twitter, Director of Scouting here at IrishBreakdown.com. Of course, with the massive opportunity that Notre Dame has this weekend, taking on the number 4 team in the country, Clemson, at home Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern time on NBC. There is a lot of layers to this football game. We've talked all week about the importance of this game from the Notre Dame perspective, from the current players, current coaches. But I want to talk to you a little recruiting preview for this weekend because I cannot quantify well enough, in my opinion, how vital this weekend is, not only for finishing out the 2023 recruiting class, but for the 2024 class, 2025 class, 2026 class. This is going to have, I think, some real substantial stay power in the recruiting world. Over 60 recruits are expected on campus for this matchup against the University of Clemson. And it's going to be a wild ride, to say the least. So let's take you through a few of the more important visitors this weekend. Want to start first and foremost with, and I think that this is an incredible job by the Notre Dame staff to get so many committed players on campus this weekend to help the recruiting process. They're going to obviously experience the day for themselves, and they're there to enjoy the fans, enjoy the game, enjoy building those relationships with each other and the coaches. But having so many committed players on campus can't be undersold. The importance is vital for the future classes for Notre Dame football. So CJ Carr, quarterback out of Saline High School in the state of Michigan, will be on campus. Jaden Greathouse, wide receiver out of Austin Westlake in the state of Texas, will be there, as well as Braylon James out of the state of Texas from Round Rock Stony Point High School in Texas. Cam Williams, 2024 wide receiver out of Glenbard South in Illinois, will be there. So will Cooper Flanagan out of De La Salle High School in California, tight end in the 2023 class. Jack Larson, 2024 class, tight end out of Charlotte Catholic, will also be there. Charles Jagasaw, fresh off of his season ending out of Alleman High School in the state of Illinois, will be on campus, as well as Sullivan Absher, offensive tackle out of South Point in the 2023 class. Sam Pendleton, offensive lineman out of Reagan High School, in the state of North Carolina. Joe Otting will be in attendance out of Hayden High School in Topeka, Kansas. Brendan Vernon, 2023 defensive end out of Mentor in Ohio, will be there as well. Brandon Davis Swain out of Les Bloomfield in the state of Michigan. Owen Wafel, 2024 defensive tackle out of Princeton, New Jersey, the Hun School. Drake Bowen, of course. You should expect Drake Bowen on campus every single week out of Maryville, Indiana, on Andrean High School, off of another big victory last night in the state playoffs. Jaden Osbury out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. University Lab is expected on campus today, as well as 2023 linebacker Preston Zinter out of Central Catholic in Lawrence, Massachusetts. Christian Gray, cornerback out of the Smet Jesuit in St. Louis, Missouri, will be on campus, as well as Peyton Bowen, 2023 safety out of Denton Guyer in the state of Texas. Adon Schuler out of Irvington High School in the state of New Jersey will also be there, another 2023 safety. And Ben Minich from Westchester, Ohio, Lakota West, the last safety in the 2023 class, which is one of the most dynamic safety groups in the entire nation for the 2023 class. Andrew Cross out of Louisville, Kentucky, St. Xavier, preferred walk-on long snapper, will also be, that is committed to Notre Dame, will be on campus. So let's start there. It's a great way to start, I believe, for what the importance of having the committed players on campus. Peyton Bowen is the big one. There has been a lot of misinformation thrown out there about Peyton Bowen. We've talked about a lot of it on the message board. You should go to boards.irishbreakdown.com, by the way, if you want to get a little more intel into the recruiting weekend that we have going on this year. But everything we're hearing is Peyton Bowen is very solid to Notre Dame. I think that getting him on campus and potentially having a big victory over Clemson could be a huge point in, kind of that final piece towards signing day of Peyton Bowen solidified in this class. So it's going to be a big weekend getting the Bowen brothers in general. I'm going to talk about Eli here in a minute, but getting Peyton Bowen back on campus, I think, is absolutely gigantic for this Notre Dame team. Notre Dame program, a player that has been very, very involved in the recruiting process for Notre Dame. building those relationships with the other 2023 recruits in the class, as well as the coaches, we think that Peyton Bowen is still very solid to Notre Dame. So let's start with the 2023 class of uncommitted players. It's a small group. What you have to understand is that Notre Dame already with 23 commits in the 2023 recruiting class, there's not a ton of spots left. So we are nearing the end and only a few weeks really until signing day, which is pretty wild. This class is pretty much solidified at this point, only a couple spots left. An important player that will be on campus today is Caleb Smith, who is a 2023 wide receiver out of Reedy High School in Frisco, Texas. Now, there's been a lot of talking about Tayshawn Lyons. Who's that last wide receiver spot in the class? From what we have heard, the staff prefers Caleb Smith right now. He's the player that they want to push for to be that fifth wide receiver dynamic group in the 2023 class. So Caleb Smith, the whole backstory was coming into this visit, he was originally set to take an unofficial visit because he was still committed to Texas Tech. Now, kind of unexpectedly, because the staff didn't really know if he was going to decommit, stay committed, whatever. He did decommit from Texas Tech yesterday on Friday. So this now makes this visit an official visit. And just kind of, this is where our pulse is on this one. If this weekend goes really well, this is one that could be done pretty soon here. We think that Notre Dame is trending in a very good direction. The fact that he decommitted from Texas Tech coming into this visit is massive for Notre Dame. So keep eyes on Caleb Smith, talented wide receiver out of the state of Texas, would be Notre Dame's third wide receiver out of the state of Texas in the 2023 class, joining Braylon James and Jaden Greathouse. Another player to keep a close eye on is Bogart, Georgia, North Oconee athlete Khalil Barnes, goes by KB. Now, he is a player that could play wide receiver on the next level. He could play defensive back. I believe that defensive back would probably be the starting point for him on the next level. So kind of what is working here is that Notre Dame wants the fifth wide receiver we just talked about. Caleb Smith seems to be the guy that they want. And then they want an athlete in this class. Now, the player that I believe they want most is Brandon Hillman out of Churchland High School in Virginia. Now, if they're not able to close on Brandon Hillman, who has already announced that he is going to make his commitment on December 7th, then I believe that Khalil Barnes will be the guy that Notre Dame would push for that athlete spot in the class. So could play defensive back, could play wide receiver. Everything that we're being told, hey, Clemson is high on his list, but I think that Notre Dame does have a shot here if they do push. I think that Khalil is very open to them. In a article I had earlier this week, I got to sit down with Khalil a little bit and just kind of pick his brain about the process. I do think Notre Dame would be a real player in this conversation if it kind of trended that way, and Notre Dame did make a push. So keep an eye on Khalil Barnes this weekend as well. Then the last interesting 2023 recruit that will be on campus, preferred walk-on. This is St. Mary's wide receiver out of Orchard Lake, Michigan, Ryan Mooney. So Ryan Mooney is a raw football player. He's only been playing football for this is now his second year. He was a baseball player and actually committed to the University of Notre Dame as a baseball player at one point. 6'4", 170 pounds, supposed 4'2", 4'3" speed. So he's a height-weight speed guy, but he's a raw football player, which is why Notre Dame is looking at him as a preferred walk-on right now. It'll be interesting to see because he's starting to pick up offers, kind of left and right here. Preferred walk-on versus a full scholarship. There's going to be a lot of conversation points here, but he's kind of put baseball to the side. He is a football player moving forward here. So keep an eye out on Ryan Mooney, who I know has a nice opinion of Notre Dame. Will it end up in the class as a preferred walk-on? We'll see. But interesting player to watch. Those are a couple of the 2023 guys that you definitely want to take a look at for today. Quick roundup on the 2024 commits that'll be on campus today. This is the more important part for me, right? 2023, not a lot of players on campus that are uncommitted from the 2023 class. 2024 is where Notre Dame can really hit this visit out of the park, in my opinion. Aeneas Williams, running back out of Hannibal High School. Notre Dame likes him. that he likes Notre Dame. He's been on campus a couple times already in Notre Dame, but he is a riser on the recruiting scene, and he's really started to pull in a lot of great offers. So all-purpose back. It's going to be some comparisons to Kyron Williams, and for good reason. I mean, he can catch the football. He can run the football. He can block. There's a lot of great things. He even plays defensive back for Hannibal, and he's a really good defensive back for his high school. So, Neas Williams, key player to watch. One of the more intriguing players that will be on campus today, in my opinion. This is Ainsworth, Nebraska high school tight end Carter Nelson in the 2024 class. Listed at 6'5", 210 pounds. Does not currently hold an offer for Notre Dame, but I believe Notre Dame is going to get in on this one. And if you pop on this kid's film, this is an athletic, long athlete. So Notre Dame already has Jack Larson in the 2023 class, but if they push for Carter Nelson, I think that he would be a great addition potentially. He's got a nice opinion of Notre Dame. Got to speak with him earlier in the week. This is just, will they offer? Where does it go from here type of thing? But Carter Nelson's a really talented player out of the state of Nebraska that if I was Notre Dame, I would push for. And I believe that Notre Dame may also do that. So we'll see. Christopher Jones, linebacker out of Mountain View High School in Stafford, Virginia. This kid is extremely talented. Listed anywhere between 6'2", 215 pounds, 6'3", 220 plus pounds, depending on what recruiting service you're on. This is the type of kid that can play Mike, can play Will. He is long. He's explosive, and this will be his first game in Notre Dame and first time in Notre Dame. First time in Notre Dame, just experience everything from a recruiting perspective. Him and his parents last summer did go to Notre Dame to kind of do all the academic things, tour the facilities, that type of thing. But this is the real opportunity for him to get to talk to the coaches more in depth, see the players, see the facilities again. But experience a game day. This will be big for Christopher Jones, who I think Notre Dame is very high on in the 2023 class. Very talented linebacker. Speaking of talented linebackers, Rover, depending on how you look at him, Garrett Stover out of Big Walnut High School in Sunbury, Ohio. The cousin of current starting tight end for Ohio State, Cade Stover. Now, people are going to look at this one and say Ohio State's got the inside track, and that could very well be true. But what I will say is that Garrett, since being offered during the Irish invasion, he is very open to Notre Dame. Very open to Notre Dame. So I think that this visit could have a big impact on just how realistic it is to have Garrett Stover a part of this class. Really talented kid, 6'2", 200 pounds. He is the ideal rover in Notre Dame's defense that could also eventually become a Will down the line. But he is explosive. Plays almost a mid-hole safety role for Sunbury, for Big Walnut, Similar usage in high school to what Pete Werner was used out of Cathedral High School when he was coming out. So, interesting player. If I was Notre Dame and he was open to the conversation, that would be my rover in this class that I would really push for. Talented player. Eli Bowen is another one, folks, that I already talked about. Peyton Bowen, the importance there. I want to emphasize this every time I talk about Eli Bowen. Whether he would be the younger brother of Peyton Bowen or not in this class, Notre Dame likes Eli and wants him in this class. He is a priority for them no matter what. He's a kid that can play inside, can play outside. Really good man cover guy with great eyes, instincts, can tackle. But, I mean, just the football IQ that this young man has at such a young age is phenomenal. He just always seems to be in the right spot. So I'm a big fan of Eli Bowen. I know the coaching staff is as well. So look for them to continue to push for Eli, who is being recruited by some of the big dogs in college football. He has a great relationship with the Oregon staff at this point. Notre Dame needs to have a big weekend, I believe, with Eli Bowen to continue to push for such a talented player. Braden Lee, cornerback out of Charles Herbert Flowers in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. This young man reminds me a whole lot of Cam Hart. He's long, he's athletic, a little bit raw, but the tools are fantastic. I believe they really like Braden Lee in this class. They want to continue to push, obviously, and hopefully that relationship keeps building this weekend, because I know that he speaks well of Notre Dame, but now it's about actualizing and continuing to build that relationship even further. Interesting player that will be on campus. Archbishop Moeller, cornerback out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Carson Hobbs, who is currently committed to the University of South Carolina. Now, from what I am told, the staff really likes Carson Hobbs, and it's easy to see why. 6'1", 180, long arms, athletic. He's got all the tools to work with. Also plays some wide receiver for his school as well, so he's got pretty good ball skills as well. Commit to South Carolina. I would not be shocked if that is changed sometime soon. I think that he really likes Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame also really likes Carson Hobbs. So keep a close eye on Carson Hobbs. I'm not saying he's on decommitment watch and recommitment watch. Not saying that. All I'm saying is that I think this one is trending towards Notre Dame, and he has been very open with us in the past that he is going to let the whole process play out. He is not done with this recruiting process. So keep an eye out on Carson Hobbs out of the state of Ohio. Kaj Sanders, who is a defensive back, safety out of Bergen Catholic in New Jersey. The teammates of former Bergen Catholic stars and now Notre Dame players, Steve Angeli, quarterback in the 2022 class, and 2022 cornerback Jaden Bellamy, who are both on the Notre Dame roster now. Now, this young man is an interesting player for Bergen Catholic. He plays cornerback. He plays safety. He's even played running back for them on offensively. Notre Dame sees him as safety, 6'1", 180 pounds, and Notre Dame has kept very, very close contact. Going back to when they were recruiting Steve Angeli and Jaden Bellamy, they have been on this kid for a while now, and Kaj Sanders is very, very intrigued with Notre Dame. So keep a close eye on him as well. And then the last 2023 player worth keeping an eye on is Bronte Johnson out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, Northside High School. Being recruited by a lot of schools as a wide receiver, Notre Dame likes him as a safety. This one is one for me that if the fit makes sense from a full scope perspective, I would expect Notre Dame to be a pretty, I don't want to say clear leader, but one of the leaders for Bronte Johnson. I think Bronte really likes Notre Dame. Just about Notre Dame, kind of checking those boxes and making sure the fit makes total sense before absolutely pushing for him. But obviously a player to keep a close eye on, one of the better players in the state of Indiana for the 2024 recruiting class. Couple notes on some other players that will also be on campus this weekend. 2024 class, Bryce Young will be on campus, who is the son of Bryant Young in the 2024 class. Sam Piloff out of Middleton High School in Wisconsin will be there as well. Pretty highly rated player in his own right. In the 2025 class, some fun names to keep an eye on. Jamar Malone II out of Higley High School, in Gilbert, Arizona. One of the top quarterbacks in the 2025 class so far rated. He's an interesting player to watch. They also, this is going to make some people feel old. I just mentioned Bryant Young's son, Jerome Bettis Jr., wide receiver out of Westminster School in Atlanta, Georgia, will be on campus today. He's been on campus many times in the past due to who his father is, of course. This will be a big opportunity for him to experience the recruiting side of things, though. So excited to get Jerome Bettis Jr. on campus. Also, Khalid Lockett out of Texas, wide receiver in the 2025 class. Very highly rated. Already getting a lot of offers so far. Keep an eye on Lockett as Notre Dame hopes to make a good impression with him today. Another blast from the past. Marshall Pritchett, tight end out of Charleston, South Carolina. He's out of Ribbon Gap, Nachos School. I completely butchered that. My apologies. But he is the son of Wes Pritchett, of course, former Notre Dame player. Keep an eye on him. Dallas Golden is a big one to be on campus today for Notre Dame. We are told that Notre Dame really likes Dallas Golden. He is out of Berkeley Prep in Tampa Bay, Florida, which is the same school as Keon Keeley. So that's going to bring up some bad memories for Notre Dame. But they really, really like Dallas Golden. He plays offense and defense for Berkeley Prep. Really talented player to keep a close eye on in the class. So those are some of the names. Also, Dia Bell, who is a quarterback out of American Heritage in the state of Florida, who's the younger son of Raja Bell, former NBA player and NBA champion. So that is the full list for you all. 2023, 2024, 2025, and even some 2026 that will be on campus today. Going to be exciting times for this weekend. Make sure to check out boards.irishbreakdown.com. We will be having a intensive recruiting updates as far as all the things that we are hearing this weekend. So make sure to stay locked there. This is the biggest recruiting weekend for Notre Dame in this season. So I will be busy. Sean Davis will be busy. And the rest of the staff, of course, will always be busy bringing you guys as much intel as we can provide. But more than anything, I want to wish everybody a happy weekend and go Irish.